All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all the praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Harakakwadash. And of course, as always, double honors to our apostles and our elders that rule well at Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Akim that are preaching this word in all truth and sincerity, and also salutations, or I should say shalom, to you few sisters that believe in Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. So this morning earlier, I had went next door. There's like a little supermarket down the street from my house, and so there's I believe he's an Ishmaelite, and he's watching the news about the war between Israel and those Muslim countries right there in the Middle East. Palestine, Yemen, Syria, Iran, of course. And, it's geopolitics, going on, taking place on the news, the news report. And so I'm just buying a quick drink, And as I'm talking to the man, I ask him for a receipt. And he's kind of bummed that I'm asking him for a receipt because I only purchased, something the value of like $3. And he's like, man, man, are you sure you want a receipt? I was like, I scan them for points. I use an app where all your receipts you scan, you can buy gift cards. So, he's kind of upset that I'm asking him for a receipt for a very small purchase, but they have to provide you a receipt. And he's like, man, this fucking guy Trump, man, he's like, now China, where I get all the receipt rolls from, they're charging me 17 cents a box for each receipt roll now. And he's like, man, this guy Trump, man. Now keep in mind, of course, he's an Ishmaelite. So he's not going to like Trump first and foremost for, Trump backing Israel against the Muslim world. But then Trump is also, causing you Babylonians, you Americans, and you people that conduct business here, a loss. Because the products that you purchase to bring in or to sell, the prices are going up because of the tariffs. Okay, paper for the receipts are going up because of tariffs. And real soon it's going to be to a point where they ain't going to be able to afford to bring goods here. Okay? And what this is going to lead to is all these nations, these heathen that are here for business purposes, to just close shop and leave. And that's prophecy. This is Isaiah 13 and 14. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. That's going to be you Americans, man, but primarily, Edomites. You're going to be as a chased roe here, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. Nobody is going to be looking to help you Edomites, man. When shit hits the fan, of course, you got your Edomites are going to be strapped up to hell and back, killing people, trying to take their country back. But at the same time, there's going to be casualties on both sides. There's going to be a lot of Edomites that get put to death in these coming class war, race wars, when civil unrest unfolds, man. Okay? And a lot of people are going to show, their true feelings towards Edomites in that day. Okay? Especially the heathen that are deciding to leave, or the heathen that decide to stay. Okay? And then you got Jakes, all right, Israelites that are going to be feuding with you over, tensions. Okay? But it's going to be really bad for Edomites, man. Especially you Edomites that stay here that are, somebody in this society, in this system. Okay, because as the scripture says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. So they're not going to give a damn about governors, about senators, about lawyers. All that shit's going to be out the window. There's going to be so much crime and terror. I wouldn't be surprised if all the prison houses, or a lot of these prison houses, I should say, are vacant, man. Okay? It says, they shall every man turn to his own people. You see, everybody's going to go back. You see, people are going to click up and come back to familiarities, man. Okay, what they're familiar with. You already see that taking place with Issachar and Zebulun, the so-called Mexicans and people of Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua. Because back in the ancient world, Issachar and Zebulun, which Issachar is the so-called Mexicans, and Zebulun are the so-called Guatemalans to Panama, Panamanians, Central Americans. Back in the ancient world, okay, they were always together. The Aztecs and Mayans, they did trade. Of course, they had little skirmishes, but they did trade amongst one another. Nowadays, you got these gangs where you got the Mexican gangs that they embrace the number 13. And then you got the El Salvadorian and, MS-13, which are El Salvadorian, which were, didn't get along with Mexican gangs, but they still embrace that 13. It's all spiritual. Okay, the Chinese are going to go back with the Chinese, the so-called, which are Moabites. Okay, obviously, Ishmael, the Arabs, they're going to resort to their kind. Okay, people are going to go back to their own countries. They're going to go click back up with their own people. It says, and flee everyone into his own land. You see? So these Ishmaelites, these Middle Eastern peoples that got business here, the Arabs and East Indians, okay, Punjabis, okay, Koreans, Moabites, Ammonites. They got their little hair salons and Chinese food places and laundromats. Their sushi bars. Their little Middle Eastern spice stores. The little bodegas where you see the incense and smoke shops. They're all going to close shops and dip out. Verse 15, everyone that is found shall be thrust through. See, it's going to be a bad day to be an Edomite. Okay, it's also going to be a bad day to be a non-believer. Okay, but this is mainly against Esau, man. Everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So if you're in the military, Esau's military, hey, you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. They're going to draft you to ship you off to the Middle East to go fight against these Muslim countries, these Arabs, and they're wild. Okay, they be ghost riding tanks, doing 360s in military vehicles. They strap bombs to themselves. And they want to die for those virgins, man. You know how in their religion they believe when they die, they got an afterlife where they get like 70 virgins or something like that. They believe in that. They're going to die for that. And a lot of you Americans, okay, you've never really seen true combat. America's never been invaded by a foreign country. Okay? All those so-called foreign attacks were inside jobs, man. Okay? That's why it's called the virgin daughter of Babylon. This place has never seen combat. It's never been touched. I've heard Pearl Harbor was an inside job. All right? So if you join into these devils, hey, man, you're going to die with these devils, man. Okay? This is Jeremiah 51. And it reads, Thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai power, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, a destroying wind. That destroying wind is referring to nuclear missiles, man. It's referring to missiles, explosive weapons. You know, even Moab, once again, the so-called Chinese, they got a missile, an ICBM, that can be equipped with warheads that they call Dongfeng, which means east wind. Okay? Verse 2, And will send unto Babylon fanners, that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. Once again, those missiles, man. Because when fire gets fanned by air, of course, wind, okay, it becomes a bigger flame. And it's going to empty the land. Empty the land of what? People, man. For in the day of trouble, they shall be against her round about. Yeah, all nations, against him that bendeth the bow, Slakia. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow. And against him that lifteth up himself in his brigandine. You know, that's Esau. Okay? Esau is going to bend the bow when he realizes, look, Iran's not listening. North Korea is not listening. These Arabs, they're not listening. Nobody's listening. We gotta retaliate. We gotta, you know how Trump is. Trump say if nobody's listening to America, we need to make them listen. Okay. That's why they're threatening Iran so heavy right now. Look, if you don't want to get down with this deal that we're giving you, that we're offering you, the ultimatum, the offer that you ain't going to be able to refuse is, you know, nuclear retaliation. And when that happens, all hell is going to break loose. Okay, when they actually attack Iran openly, okay, things are going to really, really move quick. You know, a lot of us believe that America is going to be the first one to use an ICBM. Against him that bendeth, meaning useth, you know, bends the bow, the modern day bow, is the nuclear silo. The arrow is the missile. Let the archer bend his bow. You see, America taunts everybody with missiles, with war. Okay. So these nations, they're going to say, you know what? Enough is enough. We got missiles too. We got a military too. Let's just dogpile that hoe. And nations are going to dogpile this hoe with their missiles, man. And against him that lifteth up himself in his brigandine. That's what America does. That's what these Edomites do. They lift themselves up in their brigandine, which is their military might. Okay, their military defense, their military operations. It says, and spare ye not her young men. Destroy ye utterly all her host. And that's how you know, one more again, how it's talking about America. Okay, the word America means bitter. Okay. And it got its name from Amerigo Vespucci, which was an Italian navigator. Okay, if you were to say Americo, that would make it masculine, but America makes it feminine. Okay, that's why it said, destroy ye utterly all her host. That's why the scriptures call it call this place the Great Whore. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans were known as like warlocks, the Illuminati. Okay, they ruled with a dark, with magic, man. Okay, they kept people under spells. Okay, they would do sacrifices in groves. It's the same thing today. Okay, the modern day Chaldean is the Illuminati, the elite of Esau, Edom, these so-called Jews. Okay, it says, and they that are thrust through in her streets. It says, thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power, of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to make right, okay, with the elect, okay, and he's going to set us back in our land. That's the reason why we're not in the land today, okay. When you read Deuteronomy 28, it goes into the blessings that the Lord will put on us for being obedient. And if we broke the law, statutes, commandments, which was a contract, for breaking that covenant, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai put us in captivity and took us out of our land. It said, ye shall go into Egypt again by the way of ships, which it wasn't talking about actual Egypt. Because when we left actual Egypt to keep the Passover, we fled on foot. Okay? Well, as we were, keeping the Passover, we fled on foot. Okay? We didn't leave Egypt on ships. And there's no account of the Israelites going back into the land of Ham, the actual land of Egypt, on ships. There's no evidence of that. We came into America as slaves on ships. And on the back of the $1 bill is a pyramid. Satan, I don't know what the hell that Amazon crap was, but yeah. Verse 6, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. So we must flee out of the midst of Babylon spiritually, okay, and mentally. Okay, because when you read Micah chapter 4, verse 10, it says that we're going to be delivered out of Babylon. So it's saying to get your mind right with the Lord, to believe in the Lord, to repent of your sins. Leave off from your iniquities, man. Okay. Verse 7, Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Okay, this place was a golden cup. It was called the land of opportunity. All countries, everybody was coming to America, okay, to start a new life, to get a better life. The California gold rush, people were storming in this place to find gold. The education system, these nations were sending their children here to get a better education to help them living in these third world countries, so-called. Okay, to get money to send back home. Okay, and then in doing so, a lot of these people became bugged out. Hey, if you ain't in the truth, you're a bug out. You got your mind all wrapped up in Esau's system. There's nothing wrong with learning a trade. There's nothing wrong with something that actually helps. But if you want to be like a psychologist, a police officer, that's some bugged out stuff. Not saying there isn't no people out there that have these, you know, occupations that ain't actually there to help people. I'm not saying there isn't a good cop, so-called, but the majority of them, they're just in it for a check. Okay, a lot of these psychiatrists, they become psychopaths, man. A lot of these police officers, they become you know, what is that saying? They become abusers of their authority. Okay? But these people have become bugged out through this place, man. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. This place is fallen in morality, man. The majority of these people got piercings all on their face. Nothing wrong with earrings, you know. But you got people with actual piercings all on their face. Okay, they got their faces all tattooed up. They got rainbow colored hair. Okay, that's bugged out. Weird ass haircuts. You know, they're bringing the mullet back. You know, with a weird twist. This place has fallen. It says, and destroyed. Soon it's going to be destroyed. Hell for her, take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Yeah, the nations, you know, they could have healed this place. Okay, they could have invested more. But it says, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Now that this place is, you know, really being revealed for the cesspool it is, especially with Trump, okay, it says, forsake her and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. You see, everybody's starting to see that this place is through. Okay, a lot of people are waking up to the fact that this place is going to get nuked. Even bug outs are waking up to the fact that this is the end. They'll think it's the end of the world, but really it's just the end of Esau, Edom. Okay, and this man is going to go down with a bang. His country, America, which is the military, his military sect of his system, you know, it's over. All his system's going to come falling. Hey, even the Russians are going to go into slavery. Okay? It says, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, our power. Right. So that was pretty much it. You know, these tariffs are really affecting people, especially you businesses, man, here in America. It affects the consumer. It does affect the producer, the seller, but not nearly as bad as it affects the consumer. Okay, because you know what? You still need the goods. You still need those products. So you're going to pay that higher price. All right. So, hey, with that, you know, these nations, they're going to start closing shop here. They're going to be able to afford certain things. They're not going to want to even deal with it anymore. A lot of them are going to close shop. It's going to affect the economy. And when the economy takes a real bad dip and this begins to inflate, you're going to have that inflation and then hyperinflation, and everything's going to close, man. It's prophecy. There's going to be famine, death, and destruction. So with that, all praises, honor, and the glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakudash. And of course, as always, double honors to our apostles and our elders that rule well at Great Millstone. Shalom.